Hello, trading is closed on March the 20th, 2020. Let's go over our calls. We said that the commonest thing for today would be a gap and a prompt move outside the day's range. We got a gap with no prompt move. We said what I'd like to see was a gap over these highs and then for us to trade promptly under 27, I didn't say promptly, but just to trade under 23.7635. We got a gap and we did trade under that number. So I guess I'll get some credit, but as I said, I wouldn't risk any money on that. During the day, MEJT said this rally was false, that price would retrace, said this drop was false and price would retrace, gave an ultimate sell signal that worked, gives us a target of 2404.31. And unless we gap down smartly, that's my call for Monday. Now, when the market was having its big rally, it would leave a smattering of failed MEJT targets behind, and it was its way of telling us at some point we were going to retrace. One of the frightening things about this decline is we're not leaving any MEJT targets behind except for the one right near the top, and leaving a failed target at the top as part of the system. So if past experience holds, that'll print, but if we gap down, I'm not predicting that, and as I've said before, not really risking any money on the long side here. Well, this is a weekly chart. Here's your TDST line. There's a bar completely under the line, completely under the band. Normally you've got some support there. Here we're so far under the Bollinger Band on the monthly chart. Normally, I'm not saying this is normal, but normally it'd be harder to drop a lot more. Here's what we said, no pattern I'd risk money on. Wanted to see a gap in the trade under this price. Rules for mixed signals didn't work. These are the patterns for next week. I made a mistake when I copied them, so please note the correction. Well, these are the monthly Gann fan lines. You'll see how they met right at the top. You'll see how they meet now, right at this week's low. And if we take that out, the next lines meet quite a bit lower. Well, here's how I'm counting this. And you got a fib ratio between 1 and 3, and if we stop here, if you can have some kind of a rally. If we don't stop here, and if there is a fib ratio between 1 and 3, the next most common one would be that 3 was equal to twice 1. 3 is equal to twice 1 at 2061.36. If we get to 2061.36, most of these failed targets from 2016 will print, and they'll be right under this number that you find your support. The problem with 2061.36 is my first target for the end of this drop was 2097.20. If we go under, we have to go to my next target, which is 1296.32. Now, you don't have to get these fib retraces, but often you do. If we hit 1296.32, as if today's this week's low falls, you draw your fib grid, you see the nice fib grid surrounding the fourth wave. Makes kind of a pretty picture if you're not long. Now, if wave 3 does end at 2061.36, which is here, and if wave 1 is half of that, very often wave 5 is 0.618 times that. And for that to be true, and for this low to be the low, then wave 5 would have to start from this line with a complex wave of 4. Wave 5 would have to start from 1960-89. And 1960-89 divided by the all-time high is 0.577, which mathematicians will tell you is the Euler-Mascheroni constant, which tends to crop up in all kinds of places in nature, and I can only hope it doesn't crop up here. Here's what I have. Monday's pattern has the early low. Doesn't mean you won't gap up. There's a higher MEJT target. Unless we gap down smartly, it's favored to print. Futures have already tanked. That doesn't tell us anything about Monday's open. There's considerable support at this week's low based on GAN, fan lines, FIM ratios, and the VIX reversal signal. VIX hit an all-time high and then started dropping. And under normal circumstances, you're going to get a rally when that happens. If this support does not hold, and this week's low falls with conviction, we have the potential for a collapse of historic proportions. I hesitate to predict this, but the next support levels I have are quite a bit lower. My fingers are crossed. If we don't gap down, here's my target. But if we keep gapping down, my long-term target changes to 1296.32 once this number falls. That's today's call.